Biologically, death is defined as the irreversible cessation of all brain functions. When the brain shuts down entirely, the individual dies. For decades, the primary goal of life extension was to preserve this biological hardware, the physical tissue of the brain, to achieve immortality. In the 1970s, American neurosurgeon Robert White tested the limits of this hardware approach. He successfully attached the head of one monkey onto the body of another, attempting to sustain the core physical vessel of the mind. The experiment failed within 8 days. The human brain is incredibly delicate. Physical interference alone destroys thousands of microscopic neurons. Attempting to manually splice millions of cranial nerves to a foreign system remains a biological impossibility. Since the wet biology of the brain is too fragile to sustain indefinitely, researchers have shifted focus toward extracting the software running inside it. This requires moving beyond the flesh and decoding human consciousness itself. Biological immortality appears to be a dead end. To survive the death of the body, we must identify the exact physical mechanics that allow the mind to exist. Consciousness functions as the brain's unique operating system. While humans share 98% of their DNA, the remaining 2%, which is primarily expressed in our neurological systems, creates billions of unique permutations. These combinations form our individual personalities, memories, and patterns of thought. If this specific operating system can be flawlessly copied, an individual's lifetime of data and unique perspective could theoretically exist indefinitely on a digital host. In 1924, physicist Louis de Broglie proposed that matter is not just solid particles, but also behaves like waves. This suggested that the entire universe, including the matter within our own brains, operates on a fluid, probabilistic level. This concept frustrated classical physicists who favored a deterministic universe governed by fixed laws. They viewed the idea of a probabilistic universe as a game of chance, like Ludo, rather than a predictable machine. This shift toward a probabilistic reality forced science to look past large-scale biology and zoom down to the absolute smallest building blocks of reality, the quantum realm. That search led physicist Niels Bohr to the double-slit experiment, a test that revealed subatomic particles behaving in ways that defy classical logic. Bohr fired electrons through 2 slits. Instead of traveling straight, they acted like water, creating a complex interference pattern. But when a device monitored them, the electrons instantly stopped acting like waves, snapping into solid particles to form rigid lines. Physicist Erwin Schrödinger described the initial wave-like phase as the superposition state. This is a condition where a particle exists in all possible directions simultaneously until the moment conscious measurement forces it into a single defined reality. These results frame consciousness as a physical process, a mechanism that actively collapses quantum possibilities into the solid reality we experience every day. In 1989, Nobel laureate Roger Penrose proposed that the human brain operates as a quantum system, existing in a state of constant superposition. The primary challenge to this theory was the size of the brain's neurons. Most physicists believed neurons were too large and warm to maintain the delicate quantum states required for superposition. The theory gained ground when anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff identified microtubules as the potential site for these quantum effects. Microtubules are microscopic hollow protein tubes that form a structural lattice deep inside every neuron. Neurotransmitters travel along these microtubules. Inside, the signals exist in an infinite superposition state, holding millions of potential thought paths simultaneously. A thought occurs at the precise moment those infinite quantum waves collapse into a single direction, forcing the neurotransmitter down one path. This turns a cloud of possibilities into a single, defined idea. This suggests that consciousness is a mechanical process occurring inside cellular tubes. If it is mechanical, then it is a system that can be measured and eventually reverse-engineered. If the mind functions as physical quantum data, the next hurdle is building an interface precise enough to trace it. Translating this biological complexity into a digital format is the primary focus of modern neuroengineering. Neuralink is currently developing the hardware for this bridge. They use microscopic threads to connect the biological brain directly to a computer, attempting to read neural activity at the source. Current prototypes use 372 electrodes implanted into the brain to monitor electrical spikes. The goal is to eventually trace the collapsing signals of our neurotransmitters with enough precision to map human intent. We can already see the foundations of this tech in action. Using an EEG cap, a device that measures electrical activity through nodes on the scalp, subjects can already control digital software using only their brainwaves. Tracing even 50% of these neurotransmitter paths would represent a major mathematical step toward completely decoding and preserving an individual's consciousness. This data mapping provides a potential blueprint for immortality. The first step involves scanning and recording the real-time quantum state of the brain's microtubules just before the biological body fails. In the second step, that consciousness is uploaded. The recorded memories and processing patterns are transferred into a non-biological host, such as a synthetic cyborg shell or a permanent cloud server. A digitized consciousness could theoretically download new databases directly into its active memory. Complex physical skills, like dancing or martial arts, could be installed into a synthetic body in seconds, rather than years of practice. Beyond personal benefits, merging human consciousness with digital hardware is viewed as a vital strategy for the future. By accelerating our own cognitive processing, we could keep pace with a rapidly evolving and potentially threatening artificial intelligence. By tracing the path from subatomic waves to microscopic cellular tubes, the Penrose-Hameroff model treats consciousness as physical information. In this framework, the mind is moved from the realm of biology into the world of data, making human immortality a matter of future engineering.